Back to the Future was released all the way back in 1985 and follows a small-town teen, Marty McFly, as he's thrown into the 50s when an experiment by his scientist friend, Doc Brown, goes awry, allowing him to travel back in time. The film was a hit and has remained a fan favourite even to this day, so as you would expect, there have been many fan theories surrounding the movie, and answers to the questions we all had. So today on Beyond the Screen, we're going to be counting down the top 10 dark Back to the Future movie theories. Let's jump in. Coming in at number 10, the parents. One theory many fans have about Back to the Future is why Marty's parents never recognized him when he grew up. However, in this theory, they did. The theory states that George figured it out slowly by building evidence, finding out his visit from an alien involved two of the largest space franchises of all time, coming home to a burned carpet, and the words of Calvin echoing in his head to go easy on him. Apparently, George never told Marty because he knew his son needed to go back in time the exact same way. Oh, George, what a guy. Coming in at number 9, depression. This is a dark one, but hear me out. Many fans have often questioned why Doc Brown would put himself and Marty in the path of the Delorean going 88 miles per hour, after he explicitly stated that his inventions never work. Well, some have explained this away with quite a dark theory, stating that Doc was depressed from his failure as an inventor and had chosen to take his life through one of his own inventions. That wasn't dark enough. The fact he forces Marty to participate makes this entire thing even darker, leading some to consider it was a murder-suicide attempt. Bloody hell. In at number 8, what happened to Jennifer? Did you ever wonder what happened to Jennifer? Played by Claudia Wells, the first Jennifer was unable to reprise her role due to her mother becoming ill, so the studio was forced to recast, hiring Elizabeth Shue for Back to the Future 2 and 3, and reshot the final footage of the first Back to the Future with Shue instead of Wells for the opening scene of the second film. However, some have a very content-driven theory about the entire situation. According to some, when Marty went back to 1955, something he did messed with the timeline of Jennifer's parents. As a result, the circumstances surrounding her birth weren't the same, hence why she ended up looking slightly different. Coming in at number 7, Marty is dead. Say it ain't so. Is our favourite teenage time traveler really dead? Well, according to some fans, yes. Some theories floating around online say that Marty actually died in the tunnel, trying to get the almanac book from Biff. Distraught by Marty's death, Doc goes back in time to save him, which explains why Doc dropped the rope at the exact moment Marty needed saving. Coming in at number 6, the paradox complex. Any good fan of Back to the Future knows that paradoxes should always be avoided. Knowing this, fans have come up with quite the interesting theory about the Delorean, and that it in fact broke down to avoid paradoxes. In this theory, fans believe that the Delorean is sentient, or at least sentient enough to break down at the perfect time to avoid a paradox, including breaking down when no one in 1955 will find a car from the 80s. Coming in at number 5, Marty is a martyr. We've got yet another dark theory here. According to some fans, in an effort to stop the potential paradox of Marty meeting himself, Doc does something very dark. Instead of Marty watching Doc send himself off to the past, fans think Doc sends the second Marty to his death, and in some theories Doc convinces Marty to die, and in others he never tells him. Jeez, dark. Coming in at number 4, Doc Brown is a Time Lord. That's right, some fans out there believe that Doc Brown is a Time Lord, and not just any Time Lord, the Time Lord. At the end of the third movie, Doc says he's already been to the future, implying that he is much older than he actually appears, just like Doctor Who. Not only that, but Doc's love of bow ties, his pet dog, and his ability to get into and out of very sticky situations has made some fans certain that he is in fact the Doctor. In at number 3, where are our hoverboards? It's the question we've all been asking ourselves for years, screaming into the void, where are our hoverboards? We've waited patiently but still no dice. However, fans have explained this by stating that we're actually in the alternate timeline created by Marty and Doc. One theory goes that the man Marty hit while racing was actually going to a meeting about hoverboards, and that if Marty had hit him, he wouldn't have made the meeting and wouldn't have been able to turn down the hover technology, causing the boards to be made. However, since Marty changed history by not racing, the man was never hit and went to the meeting, turning down the invention. Another theory suggests that Doc actually created hoverboards, but now that he's living in the past with Clara, he never invented them. Sad times. In at number 2, Donnie Darko. Apparently there's a Back to the Future reference in Donnie Darko that we all seemingly missed. Yep, that's right. Richard Richard Kelly, director of Donnie Darko, is a huge fan of Back to the Future, and fans believe that the film is actually fan fiction written by Kelly about the film. If you replace Donnie with Marty, the rabbit with Doc, and Gretchen with Jennifer, it all makes sense. Crazy. And finally, in at number 1, the Lockhart theory. Now this theory was coined by Robert Lockhart, hence the name, and theorizes that the Back to the Future franchise is one big chiasmus, meaning that is perfect symmetry. He states that the first and third movies are symmetrical and the second movie mirrors itself, an example being that the first movie starts with Marty being blown back by Doc's amp and talking to him on the phone, and the final movie ends with Marty and Jennifer being blown back by Doc and talking to him once more. Yup. You can check out the full theory in the description box, it's worth the read. Well, there we have it. What did you guys think about these dark theories? Were there any that we missed? What film do you want us to cover next? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below. If you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another Beyond the Screen vid. And until next time, see you later.